Good morning, guys. It is Monday, January 23rd. It's about 8:24 a.m. Another late start. You know I'm flipping the camera. Look at that sunrise. So our sunrise is now at 7:45, I think. And it is just beautiful. That's Mount Olympus. It's like the picture does not do it justice. It's so much more majestic in real life. It's just beautiful. But let's get into it. So this is kind of a slow day. There's not a lot going on because a lot is preparing for next week for the Fed meeting. So gold is still up 1936. No, I'm sorry. It hit a high point of 1936. It was 1928 last I checked on the spot price. Gold is still rising. Other commodities are not in relation to how quickly gold is rising. Interestingly enough, Bitcoin is as well, which we'll get to in just a minute. The market is slightly up. The expectation is that at next week's Fed meeting, they're not going to go for a full 0.75% or 2 basis point raise. They're just going to go for 0.25% raise. I think that's being overly optimistic. I think inflation is still very high. I don't know. There were a few comments made by a Fed governor on Friday that are signaling that. Maybe people know something I'm not. I don't see why Jerome Powell would not go for a full 0.5% raise, seeing as how that's what he did in December, and inflation is still very much present. A lot of it is being fueled by labor. So I feel like he's going to go for a 0.5% raise. I could be wrong, but it just seems unrealistic to me to say, oh, we're in the territory of a 0.25% raise. I think he's still going to be fairly aggressive with it. Maybe at the next one, he'll go by 0.25%. But I think this upcoming, he'll go for a 0.5 percentage point. Another tech company is cutting jobs. This one's not domestic, it is international, but Spotify, which I believe is based out of Sweden, is cutting another 6% of their workforce. So more tech jobs that are more tech jobs that are getting eliminated, I guess. There's more people in tech now looking for work than probably in any other sector. I know because I know someone very personal to me that is currently looking for a tech job. They had left their company last year and are now looking to find something new, but are struggling very hard. Interesting thing to a story we touched on last week, China again. So both China and India. We talked about how the market seems to be shifting away from China and how it's moving more towards India, how not just the United States, but Europe is following suit. That's not uncommon, right? I mean, Europe often follows the leadership of the United States, and it seems to be continuing. So both Apple has said that 25% of their workforce, they're going to move to India, potentially. I know these things are often announced and poorly planned and very rarely implemented, or could just be done for optics, or could be done for negotiation purposes. But the story is that Apple plans to move 25% of its manufacturing to India. We will see if that comes to fruition. At the same time, we talked about France last week and their shaky relationship with China. Similarly, Germany is planning to distance itself from China as well. They said it's going to be a slow decoupling to avoid any issues with the market. That's a very smart strategic way of going about it. But they are saying they are going to be distancing themselves. So it's very interesting that the climate is very much shifting against China. So now we have the United States, we have Europe. The relationship between India and China has never been great. I think tensions are just going to rise as more manufacturing moves to India. India's got a very strong tech sector, right? I mean, India is not China. For every benefit of China's manufacturing, and China has very good manufacturing. A lot of people will say it's not quality, but it's just not true. As a personal story, this was almost 3 years ago. So it was right as the lockdown started. I had an idea for a PPE product that I wanted to manufacture. I thought it was going to be, it was a respirator mask style sort of device. And I went to a local manufacturer, someone I knew. He does injection molding here in Salt Lake City, Utah. And he's a little bit older. He was already looking at retirement, but I talked to him about having him manufacture this. And he essentially told me it's not possible to do it very quickly here in the United States. He said what I wanted was beyond the scope of what he could do at his facility. But even if we went domestic, it would take about 6 months in order for it to get into production. And if we went to China, we could probably do it in about 3 months. at a lower cost. So it's not just about labor being cheap. The quality is there and they can do it faster. So that's why US manufacturing, a lot of other manufacturing really does have to catch up to China, because they're not just cheap, they're also very efficient. They have amazing production lines built out, and they are constantly competing against each other internally to be faster, cheaper, better. Having said that, they never had great IP. They never had great intellectual capital. A lot of their technology is, shall we say, borrowed from other countries, but India has no such problems. India has a great tech sector, and it's growing. So a lot of these companies moving to places like India are going to find a great workforce. Also less expensive than here domestic in the US, but also very highly trained and very specialized. So I think it's going to be very interesting that now we have Apple, we have Germany, we have the United States, we have many countries in Europe decoupling from China. Finally, we're going to talk a little bit about crypto. As you know, I'm not a huge fan of crypto. I don't think there's much value in it. I don't like it. But what do I know? Crypto is up, actually. Crypto hit about 23,000. I should say Bitcoin hit 23,000, but Ethereum is up as well. The entire crypto market seems to be, and there's even chatter that Shiba Inu coin is up as well. This is very interesting considering that a crypto bank, Genesis, last week filed for bankruptcy. It's not a story I covered. They're not a major crypto trader or a holding facility, so I didn't really talk about it. But they did file for bankruptcy. Having said that, crypto is up. So the entire crypto market is up. I couldn't really find a reason for it. Maybe you crypto guys will know better than I did. They're saying that it's tied. A lot of the assumptions are that now that the market is stabilizing, more people are feeling comfortable about moving into crypto. So in other words, now that Jerome Powell might not be raising as aggressively and inflation might be slowing, that people feel more comfortable investing in crypto. That seems very weird to me, because one of the 10 poles, shall we say, of crypto was always that it would be a hedge against inflation. So really it should have been growing as inflation was rising, and it seems like it's quite the opposite. It really just, I think, puts another nail in the coffin of crypto. I really don't care what you guys say, but it doesn't make sense to have crypto. It cannot be used as a currency because it's too volatile. Nobody accepts it. It can't be used as a reserve currency like gold because it clearly responds to the market in the same direction as the stock market and the general environment. So if the economy is up and the market's up, crypto is up. But if the market is down, the economy's down, so is crypto. So I really still do not see the draw of crypto. I think there's no real benefit to it. But hey, I could be wrong. I don't think I am, because again, crypto is also not a new market. Crypto's been around for a minute, right? It's been around since 2009 when Bitcoin was first created. There's multiple cryptos on the market. Bitcoin, Ethereum are really the only ones of value. I actually like Ethereum a little bit more. If I was to go crypto, I think Ethereum makes much more sense with contracts, NFTs, all that stuff. But I don't think it's a new technology anymore. It's, above 15 years old, and I still have yet to see it reach a point where we could say, oh, look how viable this product is. But we'll see. I'm about to get to it. I'm going to leave you guys with a quick message about labor. So I'm having issues with labor lately with employees, and I don't think that's unusual, right? That's the greater market. We're actually doing better than a lot of other companies. But just kind of wanting to talk about that real quick. When you're looking at purchasing a business, running a business, you want to try to eliminate as much labor cost as possible. Not just because it's often the most costly sort of endeavor, but also because it's the least reliable, right? People get sick, their family members get sick, they have personal troubles, they don't show up for work. This is a problem across multiple of my businesses. So try to really hedge your bets and eliminate labor as much as possible. Interesting one was from this weekend. So I went to a Chinese restaurant to celebrate Chinese New Year. I'll give it a shout out, Jane Wong's, good restaurant, downtown Salt Lake. And they had little robots running around the entire place serving us. This was really cool. I should have gotten more videos and pictures. I didn't really take any, but they would literally just bring food out to you. And then once you were done, it could come, you would load plates, and it would take it back. There was a waiter serving that night, But really, if you were to order from the table, which they had an option for, you could order from the table, the robot would bring you your food, you would take it, and then when you're done, you load the plates back onto the little robot and it goes away. That's pretty big. I think that's going to be huge in the next couple of years. This place isn't very fancy. It's just a simple Chinese restaurant. It's a very good restaurant, but the fact that they've invested, I counted, I believe, 4 or 5 individual robots running around that place, and it worked very well. There weren't any problems. So there was one server running around just kind of maintaining things, but you could have a full restaurant operating off of just these little robots. I don't think it's going to be all restaurants, right? I mean, the high-end stuff, you're still going to want a server, you're still going to want sommeliers, you're still going to want advice. But for a lot of fast casual places, for a lot of just regular nights out, I think these robot things are going to become a huge factor. And I think it's going to really help with labor issues, not just cost, but efficiencies. So when you're investing in business, really try to cut labor costs and those labor issues. That's pretty much it. Kind of rambling. I got to get going. I hope you guys have an amazing week. I will see you tomorrow.